Elizabeth has had a long reputation for being tough. And when HBO debuted The Sopranos in 1999, that reputation only grew.
I think The Sopranos kind of like introduced North New Jersey to a lot of people. You know, that there's Italian food stores there and markets.
In the historic Peterstown area, Elizabeth's got one of America's oldest Italian communities.
That's a very Italian neighborhood. That tends to be where most of the people are, where the Italian bakeries, the restaurants are.
Although 99.9% of the residents there are good old-fashioned law-abiding citizens, for nearly a century, the area was home base for one of the oldest mob families in America.
The DeCavalcante crime family was a Sicilian mafia family, and it actually was started in Ribeiro, Sicily.
The family goes back 100 years, and the DeCavalcante crime family is named after Sam the plumber DeCavalcante.
By the mid-1980s, the DeCavalcantes had become the tri-state area's largest racketeer of dock workers, stevedores, and shipping agents.
Labor racketeering was the thing that put them on the map, what gave them the respect from the other families.
And, eventually, got them noticed by the feds. In 1989, the FBI busted John Riggi on a racketeering charge. With Riggi in the clink, the DeCavalcante family began looking for a new godfather. Flashy underboss Johnny Boy D'Amato was the first to throw his hat into the ring.
John D'Amato was not respected at all by internally the DeCavalcante family.
He was kind of a lunatic. He had a reputation as being a party guy, somebody you really can't rely on.
But that didn't stop the cocksure Johnny Boy from flexing his muscle.
John D'Amato kind of appointed himself boss without asking anybody's permission.
Which is the kind of move that the Jersey mob usually rewards with a .44 slug to the back of the head. But Johnny Boy had friends in high places, specifically in New York. The type of friends who had the power to keep Johnny Boy in charge and alive, at least for a while. He had a trump card few in the family could match.
He had made himself very close with John Gotti, the Gambino family boss, and he was using basically Gotti's power to kind of take over the family.
With the demon of Mulberry Street in his corner, no DeCavalcante soldier had the nerve to challenge Johnny Boy.
D'Amato was becoming very, very close to John Gotti, and this annoyed the hierarchy of the DeCavalcante crime family.
Whether he was a bona fide mob boss or just John Gotti's lapdog, the FBI was watching every move Johnny Boy made.
The FBI dug extremely deep in their hunt for John D'Amato. They were watching him from different locations. They were following everywhere he went.
With the feds sticking so close to him, it was clear that Johnny Boy was running scared.
I used to get in the car with him all the time, and he would tell me, like, not to speak in the car. He would put his finger up to his mouth, like, don't talk.
Johnny's paranoia only heightened when John Gotti got pinched.
Because John Gotti was arrested. John D'Amato thinks he's next.
He came to my home, and he was in and out of my house for maybe a couple of minutes.
In October of 1992, after leaving his girlfriend Tina S.'s house, the Cavalcante family godfather Johnny Boy D'Amato vanished without a trace. At first, everyone thought Johnny Boy was laying low until the heat from the feds cooled off. Then a few weeks passed, then a few months. Pretty soon, a year had gone by, and there was neither hide nor hair of Johnny Boy. Across gangland, the rumor mill started to churn.
He was maybe a rat, who knows. Bottom line thing with the mob is as long as you earn and make the money, you can do it, you know, whatever you want, as long as you don't disrespect.
As for the title of DeCavalcante Godfather, that honor passed quickly to the family's top earner, Vinny Ocean.
He's a pretty smart guy. He never finished high school, but he's pretty clever, and what he's really good at is figuring out weaknesses. He found weaknesses in other people and took advantage of that and made a lot of money for the DeCavalcante family.
He had Wickles, he had other rackets going on, stock scams. They became very sophisticated.
So sophisticated that in 1999, When HBO debuted a mob show set in the port cities and bedroom communities of North Jersey, folks in Elizabeth couldn't help but speculate.
There's a very amusing FBI surveillance tape of the DeCavalcante family discussing The Sopranos and critiquing it. They are convinced that the show is them.
The DeCavalcante family basically watching The Sopranos episode by episode and pointing out various aspects of their own lives.
But whereas The Sopranos eventually sniffed out their rat, the DeCavalcantes never did. And in October of 2000, the feds began using their wiretap evidence to issue indictments against the family.
We arrested 40 members of organized crime.
Included in that bunch were hitman Anthony Capo, consigliere Stefano Vitabli, and new Godfather Vinny Ocean. But to go from indictments to convictions, the feds would need more than just wiretaps.
Without the testimony of cooperating witnesses, the feds would not have made convictions in many of these cases.
A troubled Don like Johnny Boy might rat out his former crew, but certainly not hardliners like Vitabli, Capo, and Vinny Ocean.
They were Sicilian Mafia. You didn't hear too many Sicilian mafiosos talk. They're dedicated to the cause, and they know they're going to die in jail. They'll die in jail.
At least, that's what everybody thought. Anthony Capo's went first.
Anthony Capo decided to cooperate, and this is kind of the thing that it all came crashing down once this came out.
In exchange for reduced jail time, Capo divulged all the family business. Drug trafficking, gambling, loan sharking, labor racketeering, even the famous pump and dump. The DeCavalcante operation was sinking fast, and soon, all the rats were jumping ship.
They had him on just about everything. If you can think of a scam, they got him on it.
Including a charge no one expected: the murder of former boss, Johnny Boy D'Amato. On April 21st, 2003, the trial against Stefano Vitabli and his two goons opened in U.S. District Court. The Fed's first witness, Anthony Capo, explained the motive behind the whacking of Johnny Boy. And it was definitely not what everyone expected.
At the same time that the government was picking off members of the DeCavalcante crime family one at a time, indictments here, indictments there, rumors about John D'Amato's sexuality.
From time to time, him and his mistress would visit swing clubs where apparently he advanced upon men and engaged in homosexual activity.
According to Capo, he heard about Johnny Boy's sexual escapades from Johnny's own gumara, Tina S. Back in 1991, Tina confessed to Capo a sexual encounter she and Johnny took part in at an after-hours club off Fifth Avenue.
Johnny wanted to watch me with another man, and I didn't want to, and he insisted. So when Johnny insisted, you had to do it. And as I was doing it, he got up, and he stormed out of the room.
He was disgusted by that, or appeared to be disgusted by that, and then he went away.
I was looking for him, and I went upstairs, and I looked to my left, and then that's when I saw him with a very rather large black man, and Johnny was having oral sex with this man.
It was a story that obviously didn't sit well with Capo.
Anthony didn't even want me to finish what I was saying, and I was like, no way, absolutely not Johnny.
Anthony Capo was distraught. He viewed it as an embarrassment to him, to the crime family, to the mob in general, and brought it to the attention of other members of the crime family.
For people to find out, especially within John D'Amato's circles, that he was engaged in homosexual activity was a death sentence.
The Cosa Nostra dictates it. Anything that would embarrass the organization is certainly punishable by death as far as organized crime standards.
The hit went down in Brooklyn one morning in October of 1992.
John D'Amato gets picked up by his good friend Anthony Capo. And at this point, unbeknownst to John D'Amato, he's essentially history.
With D'Amato in the back seat, Capo and his crew headed east on the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway.
They drive him towards a section of Brooklyn called Mill Basin, and while he's in the car, Anthony Capo turns around and shoots him in the head. In the car while they're driving.
Anthony turned to him and shot him 5 or 6 times, I think.
Cold-blooded murder. Hot-blooded sexual escapades. Capo's testimony was the biggest bomb dropped in gangland since John got his arrest.
The papers ate this up. The front page, he was labeled the fairy godfather, and that kind of labeling is just completely incompatible with organized crime.
When I had found out that it was Anthony Capo who was responsible for Johnny's killing, I felt anger, immediate fury. Anthony was the main guy that he trusted, and this is the one, of course, that murdered him.
Even though John D'Amato's business involved death, it involved crime, it involved murder, but you could classify his murder as a hate crime. He was killed because he was homosexual.
The members of the American Mafia are patriarchal, they are homophobic, they just don't like gay people.
For the people of Elizabeth, these days they're more likely to run into a mobster wannabe than an actual mobster.
The Mafia, I think it's just a very powerful mythology. I think we're kind of stuck with it. We're married to the mythology.
A marriage, some say, should be dissolved.
People see the Sopranos, they think everybody in New Jersey is organized crime and how it's rampant. Maybe it was at one time, but it's not like that anymore.
When I'm out and about, and when I visit out west, and I tell them I'm from Jersey, you know, we're part of Jersey, from North Jersey, you must be one of those Soprano kind of guys.
Deserved or not, it's a reputation the area may never live down. But the people who live there have pretty much come to accept it.
Some of us are really okay with that because it's very crowded, and we figure if we talk bad about it, people will leave us alone and they won't move in.
Mafia activity has been around a long time. People in New York and New Jersey have learned to live with it, but I think its clout has diminished. The feds have certainly put a dent into their criminal activities, but they're still out there making a buck any way they can.